Hey everyone, welcome back to Get Candid podcast. I'm your host, Raven Joseph, mentor, educator, certified life coach, and writing to heal instructor. I've been in the education field for over 10 years now, working alongside my colleagues, working with students and families and administrators to reach a common ground, reach a goal. And so goal setting is easier for me. Accomplishing goals are easy for me. And during the pandemic, I felt like we needed to learn how to take care of ourselves better. And so I started Candid Soul Company, and it is a way to help women, support women in feeling inspired and remembering self-care and self-love, because I feel like as women, we are influential, we are phenomenal. And if we are able to sustain a healthy lifestyle, then we will be able to pour into others. And we have so many roles and responsibilities that we can change the world pretty much. We can. So I help women to develop healthy habits that will help them to sustain a healthy lifestyle, which is Candid Soul Company. Today, I want to talk about perfectionism, being flawless. Well, I know that perfectionism can have its benefits. You're ambitious when and I'm gonna be interchangeably saying I and we, because I do have some perfectionist qualities or behaviors that I am recovering from. Perfectionists can be ambitious. They get the job done. Like if you're a student, you're going above and beyond. In the workplace, you're going above and beyond. You're reliable because you don't want to disappoint. You are often going to work long hours or do the most just to get the job done. Like there's no excuses when it comes to a perfectionist, which is good because especially our younger generation these days, like they're like on the opposite side of the spectrum where it's just like excuse after excuse after excuse. So I kind of feel like there's a way to find balance. One thing I do admire about a perfectionist is they always want to be the best versions of themselves. And I love that. And it's great that we want to be the best versions of ourselves, but at the same time, all of these things that we're doing to do that is actually hindering our growth. For instance, statistics show that perfectionists don't always live a longer life than those who are not. So yes, it's great to be a high achiever, but I'm going to tell you about the signs of being a perfectionist and why it's not okay. You know you're a perfectionist when you are not able to take constructive feedback. For instance, if you're at work and your supervisor says something to you, and this happened to me, like I already have realized that I have these qualities that I want to change. And so like someone giving you feedback, you actually become defensive. Or in your head, maybe you might not speak out loud, but in your head, you're probably like fighting what they're saying and you're not paying it any mind, and it actually can hinder your growth because it could be something that you truly need. But because you believe in your heart that you're so perfect and nobody can tell you differently, you're not going to change for the better. Not only that, like it hurts your relationships with other people, because if you're constantly critical, and that's another sign of being a perfectionist, critical of the people around you and how they do their job and what they're doing and what they're not doing. If you're one of those people on social media that's always up in the comments talking about what somebody should have done differently, I think you need to check that. Like nobody wants to be around somebody that they feel like they have to watch themselves or watch what they say or watch what they do or can't like be their authentic selves. That's what Candid Soul is about, by the way, being your authentic self, the flaws and all, embracing all of it. Okay. So being a perfectionist, you don't even accept those flaws. Like you look at those flaws in disgust and you don't like, it's not acceptable for you. It's an embarrassment, something you're ashamed of. And that leads to low self-esteem. And a lot of times with low self-esteem, perfectionists often think of, unfortunately, ending their lives because they are not meeting the standards that they set for themselves. It may not even be somebody else setting those standards for them, but for their personal standards, they're not meeting it, and then their friends or colleagues are not meeting it. It's it causes isolation. So rather than like looking at the progress that's being made, another sign is you're only focused on the goals. And I've already shared my story before, but for those of you who haven't heard it, long story short, I kind of had the behaviors of perfectionist of like always tackling goals and things like that. I've dug down with my therapist and myself with journaling and found deeper reasons as to why I was moving the way I was, and realizing that when I was accomplishing these goals, it really wasn't making me happy. I was just on to the next, on to the next. And when I stood still, I felt empty. So being a perfectionist, you don't enjoy life when you're always chasing the next best thing. The point of life is to enjoy the journey. Being a perfectionist, you often feel disappointed, you feel unfulfilled, you feel you're afraid of failure, which can be good sometimes. I guess what I'm trying to say, that there should be a balance with you being a high achiever. You should not strive to be a perfectionist. It's not a compliment. It's not a way to sustain a life, a healthy life. So being a perfectionist really stems from what we really think about ourselves. So I'm going to share ways that you can combat the feelings of being a perfectionist, because I'm not going to say it's a mental disease. I'm not a doctor, but it's just like this obsession of being great. Undoing those unhealthy habits takes a lot of work. So it's not something like I'm sharing this with you today and like tomorrow, just because you realize that you do things that you shouldn't do, those behaviors are actually hindering your growth and you want to change. It's not going to happen overnight. It takes a plan. Okay. I'm always about plans, you know. I'm a life coach. I plan my whole life, but it really, when you do want to make an effective change, a change that's lasting a long time, some people can go cold turkey with doing things, but sometimes it's really difficult to just say, I'm not going to do this anymore and not do it. Like sometimes it has to take like a traumatic experience for you to stop. So if you can just like stop with these behaviors, like being critical of other people and noticing those behaviors, that's great. But if you can't, I definitely suggest that you try these things. 1, learn compassion for yourself and others. Understand that it's not only your way. When you look at people, see them for who they are and accept them. It's not we're not put on this earth to judge other people and to tell people what they're doing right or wrong. It's not our job to do that. Don't do it to yourself either. Show yourself compassion when you make mistakes, when you see other people making mistakes around you. Like for instance, I know when I was growing up, my mom was somewhat of a perfectionist, and like I think some of the qualities I developed was from the way I was treated by my family members. Like I would get a good grade on a test and it wasn't enough. I don't know if you ever had a parent who was just like, oh yeah, I got an A. And they're like, why wasn't it an A plus? Like that's the type of household I grew up in. Like there were severe consequences for me not doing things right. So it made me want to always do things right, so I didn't get my behind beat, right? So I don't want to get hit, so I'm going to learn to do it and be a perfectionist. But those things, and I'm not a parent as of yet, and I don't know if you hit your child, but like thinking about the consequences of how you interact with your children and the long-term effects of it. Okay, so like just think about like finding other ways to serve consequences or to teach your child the way to do things correctly, or maybe model for them, and not choosing those severe consequences that puts fear in them for them to not even try to like, or be afraid to fail because of the consequences that are behind it. That like really plays into our minds and like tricks us into thinking that we're not good enough. Speaking about like your mind, like looking back on the things in your life, do you look back in your life and say, oh, like I came this far, like, you know, I've done X, Y, and Z, like I'm so proud of myself? Or do you look back at your life and say, I should have done this differently, I could have done this better? Definitely stop doing that to yourself. Stop. You can't change history. It's already happened. Like all you can do is be better for tomorrow. And that starts with commitment. So definitely commit to change, commit to treating yourself better, commit to treating others better. And even when you find that you're falling behind or going into the same patterns that you were doing before, please don't give up. Not everyone accomplishes what they want to achieve the first attempt. So you can go a week or two and be doing great, and then you fall off the third week and maybe the fourth week. That doesn't mean that you quit. For instance, like I've been working out. Some days I fall off, but I'm going to keep going because when I look back, I actually see some progress, and it's a good feeling, and that's why I always encourage documenting your progress, because then you can like skim through and see like what you were striving for and what you've achieved. And when you have those days when you feel like you're not doing enough, or you can look back, and that it's empowering to see how much you've done. Don't feel defeated, just keep going. Reflect on your standards for yourself and other people. Like, are these standards realistic? Are they fair to you and other people? Like, really think about how you can change that. Like, if you're asking your friend to do something, they don't do it, like, do you lose a friend over something so simple, or a standard that shouldn't even be an expectation? Like, think about the things that you're asking for of yourself and others, and critically think about it. Yes, critically think about it and really reflect on that. And also, I am a Writing to Heal instructor. I do want to share a journal prompt with you that you can write about if you feel like you have multiple behaviors of a perfectionist and you want to figure out the root of why you are the way you are. I want you to take out a journal and really delve deep into this prompt that I'm going to share. And also, once you find out your why, like this things that come up for you, I want you to highlight it, and I want you to like either talk to a friend about it, think about it, just process, meditate on it, and figure out the next steps that you want to do. You can even talk to a therapist if you choose to. What I want you to do is write for 15 minutes for 4 days. The prompt is: give your inner critic a name. Write a dialogue between you and your inner critic. Feel free to ask your inner critics questions on where they originated. So if it's Shatisha, tell Shatisha, ask her questions. Like, you're really having a whole conversation with that side of you that feels the need to be critical, feels the need to be fearful, feels the need to feel like you have to overcompensate for what exactly. So with the 15 minutes, there's no distractions. And I also put up a video about how to journal when writing to heal. You do it for 4 days, and whatever comes up for you, you highlight, and it's the same prompt, right? And it's just writing whatever comes to mind. You can write about things you think about, old memories that come up for you, over a period of 4 days, and then decide what you're going to do with the next steps of this prompts. Let me know how it goes for you. If this is you, if you've been someone who struggles with behaviors of a perfectionist, do tell, like, what are the things that you struggle with most? If you do decide to use this journal prompt, what things came up for you? What did you recognize? If you want to share, you can share. You can definitely email me at getcandid@candidsoul.com. I would love to hear. I would love for you to share your story. And if you would like to hear more about some tricks or ways to develop healthier habits, definitely subscribe to my newsletter. You can go to www.candidsoulco.com. You got this. Change is inevitable. We have to learn to change. And you should always strive to be the best version of yourself without hurting yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Take care. You should always strive to be the best version of You should always strive to be the best version of You should always strive to be the best version of yourself without hurting yourself. I thank you so much for tuning in this week. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and to my listeners on my podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. Take care.